It is another Tuesday. It's another Tuesday evening, and we are inside a campus connection. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the show. I am Anesta Samuels. I'll be your host for today. And I'm so excited. I'm excited about this show, particularly because we're talking about Father's Day, the presence of fathers, actually. With Father's Day coming up, we definitely want to know the importance of the father's role in the lives of their children. And we have an awesome discussion lined up for you. But before we get to that, I want to invite you to hop onto the live stream, do your due diligence to get on. Make sure that you leave a comment, say hello, say good evening. We are live on Facebook, we're live on YouTube, and of course, we're live on Love 101 FM Jamaica. So you can reach out to us and send us your comments as we go throughout today's show. So we're talking about the presence of fathers in schools. But before we get to that, we will have our education news and bulletin. And we'll also have Creative Block. Excited to speak with Mrs. Gloria Adigold Lawrence. She's a producer, author, podcaster, entrepreneur. So you definitely don't want to miss that discussion. And we have I Chose Christ by Gabrielle Thompson, who is a second year student at GC Foster College of Physical Education and Sports. So as you can see, it's a lot we have lined up for you guys, and we are definitely ready to jump right in. I trust that by now you've liked this video, you've shared this video with someone, or if you're listening, tell a friend that we're on and we're ready to go. So now let's go to our education news and bulletin, and it will be read by Evalicia Sutherland. She's studying for a Bachelor of Arts in Communication Arts and Technology at the University of Technology. Where else? So, yes. Hi, Evalicia. Welcome to the show.
Education news and bulletin for Tuesday, June 11th, 2024, here inside Campus Connection. Minister of Science, Energy, Telecommunications and Transport, Honorable Dara Vaz, announced that through multiple upcoming initiatives, 13,226 technological devices will be acquired and supplied to all levels of the public educational sector, including 15 special needs schools. Among the items to be supplied are laptops, desktops, projectors, tablets, interactive panels, and STEM toolkits. Minister Vaz was making his sectorial debates presentation in the sitting of the House of Representatives on Tuesday, June 4th. The Caribbean Examinations Council, CXC, has reconsidered its decision to withdraw 4 CSEC and CAPE subjects due to insufficient enrollment. CXC will continue offering syllabuses for CAPE Green Engineering, CAPE Electrical and Electronic Engineering Technology, CSEC Agricultural Science Double Award, and CSEC Industrial Technology Mechanical Engineering. CXC Registrar and Chief Executive Officer Dr. Wayne Wesley presented the report during a virtual press conference last Tuesday, June 4th, following a meeting with ministers of education throughout the region. Wesley went on to say that last Tuesday's discussion with the ministers reinforced the need for these subjects in schools. He noted that a collective regional marketing push will promote priority subject areas in science, technology, engineering, art and mathematics, STEM, education, and climate agriculture, which are regarded as critical for the region's economic growth and sustainable development. Jamaica Teachers Association (JTA) says that several schools across the island have experienced low student attendance due to the protest by transport operators. JTA President Leighton Johnson says he has received confirmation of the low turnout from four of the six educational regions. Thousands of commuters were left stranded yesterday morning as public transportation companies implemented plans to discontinue service in protest of several new implementations under review under the Road Traffic Act and lobbying for better working conditions. As a part of the protest, roadways in Stuart Town, Lawrence Tavern, and other areas of St. Andrew were closed. The service withdrawal also had an impact on traffic in downtown Kingston, Spanish Town, and Livingston and St. Catherine. There was little to no movement from bus and taxi providers in various important cities and parish capitals, including Santa Cruz, Black River, St. Elizabeth, Savannah Lamar, Westmoreland, Port Antonio, Portland, and Brownstown St. Anne. Some roads heading from Santa Cruz to Malvern were also obstructed by fallen trees and other debris. Now for the bulletin. Tertiary students apply for Windalco's summer employment program. Positions available in engineering, finance, procurement, IT, HR, and agriculture. Send application forms to summer enrollment at rusal.com. Please include area of study in the subject line of your email. Deadline June 14th, 2024. The Michael University College invites students to apply for one of the 250 fully funded scholarships to pursue a bachelor's in education in a STEM subject at the Michael funded by the Ministry of Education. Calling all 5th and 6th formers, parents, and educators. Areas of study: computer science, biology, chemistry, physics, geography, and environmental studies, industrial technology, mathematics, family and consumer science. Contact Michael University today to apply. Passion and Purity JA invites you to their youth summer camp from August 7th to 10th, 2024 at the Rockhampton Hotel, Manor Park area in Kingston. Cost $13,850. For more information, contact 876-779-7171. That's all the news we have for you today inside Education News and Bulletin.
All right. Thank you so much to Evalicia Sutherland of the University of Technology for the Education News and Bulletin. Just want to remind everyone that we are live on Facebook, YouTube. You can also reach out to us on TikTok at Love 101 FM Jamaica. And we want to hear from you. Oh, I forgot the WhatsApp. So you can reach out to us on WhatsApp as well at 876-997-3125. You can reach out to us on WhatsApp. We want to hear from you on this question. Do you think the presence of a father has a lasting impact on a child's education? Do you think the presence of a father has a lasting impact on a child's education? Definitely want to know your thoughts on that. I know we have a lot of success stories out there where persons came from fatherless homes and they were still able to achieve greatness. And then there are some who come from fatherless homes and not so great. So, what's your take on that question? We'd love to hear from you in the comment section. And we know that June is also Disaster Preparedness Month. And here at Campus Connection, we have some first aid do's and don'ts for you. We want to share them from the Jamaica Information Service. So here are some do's of first aid. The first one is to inspect the patient's surrounding, to apply pressure on serious bleeding, use the Heimlich maneuver for choking, and to call emergency services right away. All right, so those are some of the do's. Now, for some of the don'ts: remove stuck objects, lean back if you have a nosebleed, Move the patient if you suspect a head or neck injury, and don't forget to wash hands immediately afterwards. Very, very important. So, if you're performing first aid, you want to pay attention to those things. Moving on to our creative block, we have with us Mrs. Gloria Adigold Lawrence. Inside of this segment, I'm so excited to speak with her. She's a producer, an author, a podcaster, and an entrepreneur. So, hello and welcome to the show, Mrs. Gloria Adigold Lawrence.
Hello, thank you so much for having me.
Awesome, awesome. Is this your first time on Campus Connection?
It is. It is my very
Nice,
first time.
nice.
So I'm excited.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. What makes you a creative? Would you consider yourself a creative? What makes you a creative?
I think so. I am a creative in the sense that I love to inspire people by things I do, projects I work
Mm,
on, whether it is entertainment itself, or
mhm.
whether it's my podcast. No matter what it is, I like to create ideas to put out to persons so that they can learn from it. So I think I'm a creative in that sense. Yes.
I mean that's good enough reason to consider yourself a creative. And
Mhm.
what do you consider to be your life's mission? Because I'm seeing here you've done a lot. I mean, you're a self-published author. And I definitely would want you to tell us a little bit more about that. The name of the book is Things Left Unsaid Before I Do.
Mhm. So for the
Yes,
first
please.
the first part of the question, in terms of my life's mission, I think, as I said before, it is really to educate people, to tell my story, and telling
Hmm.
my story in the sense of putting my life out there, not necessarily everything, but putting my life out there so that people can see it and emulate it. Because there's a lot of times that people want to learn, they want to gain something, and the resources are not there. And it's the comfortable resources not there for you to just sit back and listen and enjoy. Something that can even help your art is beneficial to your life.
Mm.
So my life's mission is always to educate, entertain, inspire, empower people. That's what I'm about.
And I can tell just from the name of your book that that's something you were seeking to do in that book. So tell us a little bit more about.
So the book is about my previous marriage because I was married before, divorced, and remarried.
Okay.
So that book started the first year of my marriage. Because I mean, some people get married and oh my God, is this for me? I got married and I'm like, what is this? This is not what I
Oh,
wanted.
oh snap. Oh
So
snap.
I was able to, I just started journaling what was
Mm,
happening. And I was like, I think people need to talk more about these things, especially people in the church. We don't do much talking about actual things that happen in a marriage so that people
mhm.
can know about it before they go in. And I mean, we do counseling, but
Uh-huh.
sometimes some important topics are not brought up in counseling. And that's what this book was about. So this was actually part of my journal that I
Mm,
decided to give out. And it took 6 years to
mm.
finish, and it actually finished when I was in this new marriage.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. I'm excited to talk more with you. We are going for a quick break, but when
Mhm.
we return, we'll hear more from Mrs. Gloria Adigold Lawrence, podcaster, author, entrepreneur, and she's here inside Creative Block with us. So stay with us. We'll be right back on Campus Connection.
Okay, where are the campus heights? Students are strap up in a price. Alright, we're gonna do a roll call.
The Love Jockey is on duty every Saturday inside Youth Connection. Don't miss the hype. Don't miss the tunes. Don't miss the excitement with your boy, DJ Rebirth. Saturdays at 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. on the family station, Love 101. At 3 p.m., your DJ runs the gospel rhythms. Hot, hot. Tune in at 4 p.m. for a time where we share a word to grow your mind. GYM? Grow your mind? Jim. Get it? Grow your mind? And at 4:30 p.m., we share with you how young people are giving all their time and fulfilling their purpose inside Ministry in Action. We get a taste of poetry and spoken word inside Poetry and Praise. And you get to send us a WhatsApp message and request your favorite gospel song inside Gospel Faves at 5. All this and more every Saturday at 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. with your love jock, your boy, DJ Rebirth. It's all here on the family station, Love 101.
Youth connection. Shuboti and them figured he provide everything on guide people we try.
Join the National Blood Transfusion Service and the Ministry of Health and Wellness on June 14 for World Blood Donor Day.
Every blood donation helps save at least 3 lives, so wear red and donate at any blood collection center island-wide.
Follow the Blood Bank and the Ministry of Health and Wellness on our social media pages at One Blood Bank JA and at the MOHWGOVJM.
World Blood Donor Day. Blood is life-giving and life-changing.
A message from the National Blood Transfusion Service, an entity of the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Everybody needs a helping hand, somebody to understand. In the end, we're all human. For people living with HIV, no discrimination. Here to support them through. Respect you as usual. Got to protect them too. Put your friend or your family. Somebody in your community. People living with HIV. Protect, accept, and respect people living with HIV. A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
You are a dedicated small business owner dreaming big of growing your business and reaching new heights. With Access Financial Services, you can grow from where you are to where you want to be. Grow from a corner shop to your very own store, from truck driver to trucking fleet, from hairdresser to your own salon. Secure your small business loan of up to $20 million and watch as your business grows from plan to possibilities. Grow your business today with Access Financial Services. Conditions apply.
When you say Fosrich, you say electrical. SWA cables, conduits, transformers, and breakers. When you say Fosrich, you say lighting, chandeliers, and more. When you say Fosrich, you say LEDs and solar water heaters. Fosrich is electrical, lighting, solar, and LEDs. Visit us today, Kingston, Mandeville, and Montego Bay. Fosrich.
Okay, where are the campus heights? Students are strap up in a price.
Welcome back. Welcome back to Campus Connection. It is another lovely Tuesday, and we are inside the creative block. We have with us a very special guest. It's her first time on the show, so please jump on to the comment section and make her feel welcome. Mrs. Gloria Adigold Lawrence. She's a podcaster, she's an author, she's an entrepreneur, and I'm sure she's many more things that we probably don't have time to discuss on this show. But you mentioned before the break about just your book that you've written and how it stemmed from your own experience. Tell me a little bit now about the podcast. I'm seeing where you have over 9,000, almost 10,000 active listeners.
Well,
So
as of today, I have 10. It's not 10,000. Listen, 10,000 downloads.
downloads. Gotcha.
I'm in 69 countries worldwide. And 10,000
Awesome.
downloads.
Awesome.
Yes.
So what's it really about? And how long have you been a podcaster?
So Megan, I have been podcasting for 4 years. Yes. So it has been good. My podcast, it doesn't have a niche. I have no niche. So I speak about everything as long as it aligns with my belief, which is Christianity. We speak about it, whether it's family, whether it's fathers, as we're going to speak about today, whether it doesn't matter,
Awesome.
kids. We have learned about people from Iran. As I said, we're in 69 countries worldwide. So therefore, we speak to people in everywhere. People in Iran, so we know what's happening there. There's a diverse population. So the people who come on the show speak about diversity. Everything is diversity, whether we speak about marriage, whether we speak about singleness, whether we speak about, a stay-at-home dad, stay-at-home mom, different things. But we speak about everything, authors. It doesn't matter what it is. We have a space here for it. And we really speak and share on that.
So how do you find the experience of navigating the podcasting space, being a Christian, coming from a Christian content approach? What's that like for you?
Well, so it's not hard once I already make it known. I make it known
Okay.
to people. So anybody's coming on, that's what it's gonna be. So we
Okay.
speak about
Okay.
anything. It just has to be in that space of Christianity. So I first of all make it public and make it known that we're a Christian podcast.
Hmm.
So navigating the space is kind of, it will be hard, but it attracts the right persons to it. In the
Mm.
sense where you don't have to be a Christian to be on the podcast, but we're going to ensure that you know that what's going to be spoken on the podcast and the belief system, what's it all about. Some people saying, I'm not a Christian, but I want to come on it the same way. Is that okay?
Mhm. Mhm.
Sure, I'm open to it. As long as you
Mhm.
don't cross that boundary that we don't want you to cross in terms of speaking about certain things, we're fine.
Mhm.
But that's where it is. Mhm.
Awesome. And I'm actually a podcast person. I'm big on podcasts. So I listen to
Nice.
them a lot. What would you say is your number one episode in terms of listenership?
Can I tell you, most of my relationship episode are number one, especially long distance relationship. I must
Wow. Okay.
say, and I'm really amazed by it also. But the second ranking for that is talking about a producer, which is the producer for which is
Wow.
the person who does the music for my show. I did an
Hmm.
episode with him being a producer, and that is second. I'm not quite sure, but people are
Ah.
gravitating to that also. So sometimes some of the episodes that I see people are gravitating to, I'm like, I've never expected that one though.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
people gravitate to
Yeah.
what they gravitate to. Yeah. Honestly. So
Hey.
there's something for everyone. So I guess people just choose what they want to listen to,
Wow.
and it goes there. Mhm.
Awesome. So you're also an entrepreneur. So tell us a little bit about that side, the business hat. When you put on the business hat, like what exactly do you do in terms of entrepreneurship?
Okay, so the entrepreneurship side, I work with my husband. So we do audio for churches. Set up their audio, they're
Mm,
mainstream, they're live. So churches can go live on YouTube, Facebook, wherever without issues. So that's what we do. So I've learned to plug in things that I wouldn't necessarily know how to do, set up mics. I'll learn how to
okay.
edit. I've learned how to do all of that. So I've learned how to do those because of him. So that's what we do
Wow.
together. So, and it is an addition to what I do with my podcast because I edit my entire podcast. I do everything for
Hmm.
myself. So doing
Mm,
that with him, with churches, and different businesses putting up their mainstreams, whatever it is, it helps with my
mhm.
podcast because I'm learning from there and coming over to do it on my podcast. So it's a bonus. Yeah.
Wow, this is so cool. I'm really enjoying talking with you and understanding more of just what you do. And I
Hmm.
think based on what you've shared, I know you're a woman of faith. But is
Hmm.
there anyone that you would like to thank? I mean, I know God is in there somewhere, but is there anyone you'd like to
Listen,
thank for all of your accomplishments?
I'm gonna thank God regardless because I mean He gives us purpose. He gives me purpose to do what I need to do, where I ought to go. So I thank Him
Mhm.
first. And although He's not alive, my dad, Bishop Adigold, he's the one
Mm,
that pushed me first to do entertainment. He knew that I loved media. He knew what I loved. He pushed me to start a Christian club. He pushed me to do
mm,
to go to school for entertainment. Even
okay.
working on the radio in Jamaica when I was living in Jamaica. I had to do
Mhm.
all of this. So he pushed me. So he's not alive to hear it, but he is my number one supporter. He was my number one supporter, and he's why I'm doing what I'm doing today. Yeah. And
Awesome,
also my
awesome.
husband. My husband plays a big
Okay.
role in everything that I do. My setups, everything. Yeah, those two persons. Mhm.
Okay, I was checking if you weren't gonna acknowledge your husband, but yeah, certainly a pleasure talking with you,
Yeah.
Mrs. Lawrence. It's really cool when we can just share with persons who are creative, they're breaking boundaries, they're in these uncommon fields, and they're making a mark. So thank you so much
Mhm.
for being with us on Campus
Thank you so
Connection
much.
today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome, awesome. All right, so we just heard from Mrs. Gloria Adigold Lawrence, a creative podcaster, author, entrepreneur, producer, and many more things. But yes, we're going now to our I Chose Christ feature. And on today's episode of I Chose Christ, we will hear from Gabrielle Thompson. She is a second year student at the GC Foster College of Physical Education and Sports. Listen in and be blessed.
My name is Gabrielle Thompson, a second year Bachelor's in Education student at GC Foster College of Physical Education and Sport. As I reflect on my journey, I find myself compelled to share why I chose Christ. You see, amidst the whirlwind of being a student athlete, teacher in training, model, freelance graphic designer, JNWA ambassador, Gushman Sports Scholarship recipient, and brand ambassador, student union representative, one thing remains constant: Christ. From a young age, I was baptized and raised in the church. However, I had to cultivate my own personal relationship with God. Why would I see the need to cultivate a relationship with God? Because in every challenge, in every triumph, Christ has been my present help and has proved to be faithful. Knowing that He has a purpose for my life fuels my drive. It's what propels me to accomplish what I have at just 21. It's the assurance that no matter what the season or responsibilities, I am never alone. He's my constant companion, guiding me through life's highs and lows. Christ isn't just a choice, and in sharing this, I hope to inspire you to seek that same unshakable connection, a connection that transcends circumstance and empowers us to live out our purpose with unwavering courage and conviction. I chose Christ. You should too.
Wow, you just heard you just heard from Gabrielle Thompson, a second year student at GC Foster College. No, she doesn't sound like a second year student to me. But yes, that's what the facts say. But certainly a powerful testimony of her, how she has just formed a relationship with Christ, even at this age, which is what we want. Young people, you can find a friend in Jesus Christ. And we definitely want to keep them coming. Keep your testimonies coming. You can submit your testimonies to us here at Campus Connection. We'd love to hear from you. We're going now for a quick break, but when we return, we will have a discussion on the presence of fathers in our students, in the lives of our students. And we will be talking with Mr. Jamar Wright. Mrs. Adigold Lawrence will be joining us back for that segment. And we'll also have Mr. Sean Graham of Magatti High School. So you want to stay with us here on Campus Connection? We'll be right back.
Jamaica and its workforce are advancing quickly. Life-changing opportunities are arising. You need training and support. We are the Renewed Heart NSTA Trust, committed to providing new and emerging skills training and opportunities. Come to Heart. We'll help you claim your place in the workforce of the future.
As a man living with HIV, a regular day for me, not much different from yours.
I have to wake up and go to people and work in the traffic. But then when we reach, we can run some joke with my coworker them. Sometimes we link up after work, or play ball, or just dip on my ends and kick back before we go home. You see how much we have in common? People living with HIV are a part of our community. Make we power, protect, accept, and respect. A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Sometimes all we need is a listening ear. The listening ear, the counseling, the logical reasoning, and spiritual guidance are what appeal to us. That's why I'm here. I'm Dr. Joan Pinkney, the counselor, your counselor on Love 101 FM, Tuesdays and Wednesdays, 10 to 11 p.m. You know you can call on me. I will listen and more. So let's talk about what's bothering you. Anything. Tune in, listen, call in, text, or voice message. I'm Dr. Joan Pinkney, counseling psychologist, ready with a listening ear. Tuesdays and Wednesdays, 10 to 11 p.m. Right here on the family station, Love 101 FM.
Welcome back to Campus Connection. We are here. We are ready to go with our discussion on the presence of fathers in our students' lives, and we have some guests lined up for you. Mrs. Gloria Adigo Lawrence. She was here with us earlier inside Creative Block, and she's joining us for this session. We also have Mr. Jamar Wright, no stranger to the show of Mind Food International. And we have Mr. Sean Graham, of course, another friend of Campus Connection. He is the principal of Magati High School since 2015, and he's here with us today to talk about this issue. Welcome, lady and gentlemen.
Hi,
Thank you for
hi
having me.
everyone.
Greetings to the other panelists.
Hi
Awesome,
everyone.
awesome,
It's good to be here and say hi to the listeners as well.
awesome, awesome. So we want to get right into it because we don't have a lot of time, but
Mhm.
I do want to really understand, first of all, what is your take on the question? We throwed out a question to our audience. Do you think the presence of a father has a lasting impact on a child's education? And I definitely want to hear from you all. What's your take on that? Let me start with the principal. Let me start with the principal. So Mr. Graham, you can go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much. And, I want to big up your listeners as well. It's very important. In my mind, fatherhood is the most important role that any man could play. I think it's an opportunity to mimic God and, to be an example. And every aspect of life is affected by that. And I think especially education, which is something that will follow a child through life. It's not just limited to his time in school. Is very fundamental in terms of the work and the role of the father in allowing, determining the success or failure of that human being.
Mm. You said something interesting. I do have to come back to it. You said it's the father's role mimics God. How so?
Well, God is our eternal Father, and He is the one from which we come, and it's the same way with a father. Children come from Him, and they are His offspring. And therefore, we have an opportunity to be like God in their lives, providing covering, providing protection, providing support to be there. And it's a relationship that only ends with death. And so it's very, very important, that it's given the significance and the attention that is deserving of it.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that. So, Jamar, you're from Mind Food, and I know
Mhm.
you do a lot of mentorship, you do a lot of leadership training.
Mhm.
What are some of the things that you believe can help students to stay motivated when they have issues at home with fathers and stuff?
I mean, as the principal had said earlier, fatherlessness is a huge problem, and father is not just a role, but the word father. If you go back to Hebrew, it's the word Abba, Abba, and it simply means source. a family get its identity from the father. So fatherhood actually means source. It actually means the foundation. Now a house cannot be constructed effectively without a proper foundation. And there's a research. I wish I know the source of the research. It said that 90% of all prisoners or people who are in jail, they grow up fatherless. And it said, and research goes on to say that you are more likely to grow up in poverty without a father. You are more likely to fall in a gang without a father. You are more likely to become abusive without a father. And you have so many destructive force from a lack of fatherhood. And so for those who does not grow up with without a father, what you need to do, you need to find the right father figure, because you need that identity, you need that foundation on which you can establish your life. And so you need a father figure so that he can give you your right core value, because you can't direct your life without the right and proper foundation. And that's one of the important things to motivate people going forward, because you need something more sustaining more than motivation, because motivation is like a spur of the moment, but what you really need is discipline and the ability so that you can direct your life um with
Mm.
longevity and discipline. So wherever you are, if you are fatherless, you need to find a right father figure who's connected with true north, who have the right principle, and you are in the right connection with moral principle.
Okay. Thank you so much for that. And I want to throw this question now to Mrs. Lawrence. You're a creative, and sometimes sometimes children and their fathers don't see eye to eye, even in a case where the father is absent from the home. What are some tips that you can give to um even the schools, that they can now incorporate the fathers inside of the students' lives?
All right, so I'm going to say something that may sound is out of bounds, but I believe that first, a child cannot be close to their father if it is that the mother is preventing it. That's number one. It's important that people don't speak about it, because there are many fathers who want to be a part of their children's life and are not able to, because there's a separation between mother and father, or they're not good terms with mother and father. And because of that, the mother does not, or the mother keeps the child away, or the mother says things about the father, which eventually will keep the child away from their father.
Mm,
So the first and foremost thing is for the mother. If it is that
mhm.
in any relationship, whether they're married or not, the mom has to be positive. Things can happen with the father and the mom, but keep that to yourself. You're adults. Let the child have a
Right.
relationship with their father. That's important, because a school can't force a father to be a part of the child's life if it is that the father is not being allowed to be a part of the child's life by the mom.
That's such a cool perspective. And it's a reality even in our society that many
Mhm.
mothers, they say things, they do things to
Mhm.
estrange their children from their fathers. So if a mother decides that, okay, I definitely want to ensure that my child has a relationship with their father, now what are the steps that should be taken, especially in a case where that father is not in the home?
Well, foster it. Give the father the room to spend time with their child. Um, we can't tell fathers what to do with their child. The father has to figure that out for
Mhm,
themselves also, because they're men. Men have to figure out
mhm.
how to spend time with their child, what to do. If it is that, okay, you're not in the home, or you're in the home, whichever way it may be, say to the, you can, say to the father, hey, take out the child, spend time with the child. Because sometimes men generally don't think, oh, I need to spend time, but it's something that you can do. Take the child out, because it has a lasting, as the two gentlemen said earlier, it does have a lasting impact on the child. I was close to my father, very, very close to my father, and I can see the impact it has on me, because
Mhm.
I didn't participate in certain things because I had a great father In fact,
Mhm.
my father took me out on dates. So I had a great father to show me certain things. So I school was good because of that, and because I knew I had a backbone to, because it's important. I know the Mr. Graham and Mr. Wright said it earlier. It's important to have men in the home, and I was going to say it because it's a replication of God. Just like how we need
Mhm.
God and He's our Father, we also need the men because something goes missing. So even in schools, I would start from saying to teachers, hey, you can't force fathers to come in if their mothers are not allowing them to be a part of their lives,
Mhm.
but you can encourage them. Even if you have parent teachers meeting and the mothers show up, hey, where's the father? You can let the father come. Do nudges like that so that they can
Mhm.
realize that the fathers are important, because many times people don't believe it's important to have a father.
Mhm.
People don't believe
What
that the
what
fathers need to be a part of the lives, but it's important, and
Mhm.
people miss that. So we grow up angry women, we grow up angry kids because we don't have fathers. Yeah.
I see Mr. Graham itching because you are directly involved with the school system. You're a principal, and I know when we have those parent teacher conferences, when we have those, consultations with teachers, what are some of the things you think could be done differently to help improve that father's presence
Well,
or increase
you
that
know,
father's
Mrs. Lawrence made some great points, because the preponderance of students in this school are mainly, well, in my school, are mainly coming from single parent home headed by women. And therefore, it is important at that level that the women give permission. It's also important that fathers see their role, even if they are not present physically, I mean, not living at home, that they see their role more than provider, because there's a thing with men, sometimes they limit their function just to being provider or protector when it's necessary. And it is more comprehensive than that. But, we have a society that is coming from, a traditional slave society into colonialism, and there are many implications which I won't go into now. But as the school, in terms of or PTA meeting, there are things that we can do. We can have days when we allow fathers to coming to school. When fathers are there, we can recognize them, we incentivize them to come to
Mm.
meetings. Schools that have systems, school management system, generally sometimes we tend to want to call the mother, but I think we can also be intentional if there's a challenge that we also call on the father. And what I also think is important, and this is a point that I want to make to all my male colleagues and also to the government. I think the government need to consider in terms of the remuneration for male teachers and having male teachers in the space, because that is also important. But one of the things that I would also want to encourage male teachers and male principals and male, with ancillary staff, security, male within this space, is to start to see themselves as mentors and proxy fathers for the boys and girls that are within the school, because it's critical. And sometimes I
Mhm.
think our education system overemphasize content, to the detriment of some
Right.
other important fundamentals, because there are many children in our school, even when they act out, it's a cry for help, it's a cry that there is no father.
Mhm.
And male teachers, male persons within the space have to begin to see them, playing that role through support, through
Mhm.
mentorship, through handling conflicts, and sometimes even just by a sit down and informal chat, and somebody know that they have something to bounce off, because we all need that.
Mhm. I love that, and some very powerful points are being made here. We are going to pause for a quick break, but I must say that even the perspectives that are being brought forth, I'm hoping that some fathers are listening. I'm hoping that some persons within our education system are really listening and taking the steps that were recommended. But we'll be right back with more in this discussion on the presence of our fathers in schools. So you want to stay with us right here on Campus Connection. We'll be back.
Think ahead, make a plan. You got the freedom of choice.
Lark, long-acting reversible contraceptives.
I made my choice 6 years ago. I have an IUCD, also called copper T, and it will go and protect me from pregnancy for another 4 years at least.
My choice was an implant. It lasts for 5 years. And when I'm ready for a baby, I just make doctor take it out. Contact the National Family Planning Board at 9681632 to find out more about the Lark.
Think ahead, make a plan. You got the freedom of choice.
Know how much you can afford to spend. Be truthful with yourself and honestly determine how much you can afford to save or borrow. Do not rush into any financial decision. Always remember that you are responsible for your own financial well-being. So be smart about your financial decisions and choose products that are right for you.
This financial literacy tip was brought to you by Bank of Jamaica, building an inclusive economy.
When tape diapers are difficult to change, it's time for Pampers Easy Ups with 360 stretchy waistband. They're easy to put on and take off, keeping their skin dry and protected.
Changes are easy with Easy Ups.
Receive words of strength from the Voice of Power with Bishop Dr. Delford Davis.
The battle of seed has been declared many years ago and is still raging. I will put enmity between thee and between the woman, thy seed and her seed. A war will be on perpetually until Jesus returns. But I know who has already won the war. I know who has already won the war.
That's the Voice of Power with Bishop Dr. Delford Davis, brought to you by the Power of Faith Ministries International in Portmore. Voice of Power comes to you every Thursday at 9:30 a.m. right here on the Family Station. Love 101.
Okay, where are the campus eyes?
We are back on Campus Connection and we are discussing the presence of fathers in our schools, in the lives of our students. And we did a Vox Pop here on Campus Connection asking our students, do you think the presence of a father has a lasting impact on a child's education? We'll now listen in and listen to their responses to that question.
Do I think the presence of a father has a lasting impact on a child's education? Well, definitely it does have an impact on a child's education. A father's presence, it can have a long-term impact um, on a child or children. Most fathers who are actively involved provide, support and for their children and contribute to a stable family environment, which can help a child's academic success. Children with active fathers are most likely to excel in school and have higher self-esteem and develop stronger social skills. Um, this involvement promotes, a sense.
I personally feel like a father's presence does impact schoolwork or your education because there are fathers that pushes their children to be a better version of themselves pertaining to school, pushing them to do better in school and like also helping them with their assignments and things like that. Even my father is the one that helped me pick my subjects for my career path.
Yeah.
He is very involved in my school life. Like even my report goes to my father. So and like my father is one that is into like the school groups. So I can personally talk about the presence of my father in the education system or like his presence helping me with my education because yeah, he is a good support system that pushes me to do better in school even.
Yes, I do believe that the presence of a father has an impact on a child's education. When the child observes the father in the process of paying for something, for example, he will see his father consider the cost of a chair consider how much money he has, consider how much he's likely to save if he buys a cheaper chair versus a more expensive chair. And those things help to reinforce what the child would learn in mathematics. In terms of English language, for example, if the child observes how the father interacts with his mother, how he chooses to communicate something serious but in a soft manner, then the child will then learn how to use metaphors, how to use similes in terms of conversation. And that will help boost the child's confidence, not only in
Such interesting perspectives there from our students. I wanted to hear from Jamar. Do you what's your take on what our students had to say?
Definitely, because one of the thing about education and success, especially from a father perspective, is that you need the right father with the right values and moral support so that they can create that environment for that child to become successful. Because without the environment, that child is more likely to fail than to succeed because a seed is no better than the soil. Water at room temperature is just water, but if you put water in the refrigerator, it becomes ice. If you put it in the pot and turn on the fire, it becomes steam. So what we have done is show you the importance of the environment. And so without a father figure, that environment it has not been created. And I'm sure Mr. Graham can allude to that as well, because my wife and I, we have been on several high school tours. We will be in a school tomorrow doing a session for the teacher. And what we can tell you is, especially some of those most volatile school that we have been to, some of those troubled kids, they are those the one that grew up in a single parents family. And so we can tell you that those that struggle even financially to come to school, those are the one that the mother have to raise 3 or 4 kids by themselves. And so you need the father. We need mentorship of fathers, not those who just say, you know what, I'm a father, but they are not there. We need more than breadwinners. We need men to step up in their role, who have the right, who have a vision, who know their purpose. And so that your child can get that positive identity from. Jesus said something powerful. He said, if you are seeing the Son, you have seen the Father, and it is very, very true. Because in that man is a lineage of generation. And so if we don't have those proper role models to encourage those kids, then what we see in school is not the teacher's fault, but is what has been replicated at home, that environment that is pushing them into that school system. And so the teachers have so much um, defects to correct when they come to school. And because our students spend so much time at home, we need those we need those fathers, even if you don't live with the mother. I'm encouraging the fathers, for some of you who are listening, you have to take responsibility. If you are not that father yet, we encourage you, you can change your life, you can get the right values, and so that you can become a role model to your daughter and to your son, so that we can see a better Jamaica. Because here's the thing, if you heal a family, you heal a nation, because it is a family that creates an entire country. But you, Father, you are the foundation. And without the proper foundation, there can be no house, there can be no structure built on it. And so you have to be the right man on which a family has to be erected. So if your child
Wow.
go astray, if your child go astray, it's not the government, it's not the school, it is upon you as a father. And we're not saying that everything that a child do, because not parents alone doesn't influence a child. Parents alone doesn't influence a child, because children have other influence. But you
Right.
must pour your all into that family, so that your child can maximize and fulfill his or her purpose.
I love that. I love that. I really hope the fathers out there are listening. Mr. Graham, let me quickly paint a scenario for you. So, a father has a child who has stopped attending school, no longer interested in school, maybe was even in college and just quit, just decided, or maybe was in high school and just stopped going, doesn't want to go back. What, from your experience, what advice would you give to a father dealing with a situation like that?
As I said, the Father is a replica of God, and one of the things that has to be consistent is love, and you love through whatever the issue. And the child not wanting to continue school, there has to be a reason, there has to be something that is driving this, and therefore, as a father, it's not something that you have to approach as an overnight fix. You have to really try to get to the child to find out what is happening. And that's why it's very important that we build relationship, because you need permission to speak into the life of your child, because there's a difference between a father and someone who just contribute a sperm. You have to be devoted from beginning, so you have that level of permission. And so it is getting to the root of the problem, because many times it's psychological, sometimes it's school phobia, sometimes the child is not learning, sometimes it's frustration, confusion. The essence of it, though, is that through love, a father can work with any child through any situation once it's not approached, as I said, that it's going to be an overnight fix. One of the things that we have to remember, God has been patient with us through all our faults and flaws, and He is shaping us into what we, will become. And there are times
Mm-hmm.
that, and we have many evidence of this, that people drop out of school, drop out of college, and still end up being successful because other variables were put in place to support.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. We had someone ask in the comment section to speak specifically to simple actions that a father can take to show involvement in the child's life when he doesn't live with the mother. And I believe we did touch on that, but I'll just briefly summarize what was mentioned. Assisting with homework, taking the child out on dates, regularly checking up on their emotional, their mental state, attending PTAs, the parent teacher conferences, making sure that they know what's happening in their child's life. And Mrs. Lawrence, I'm going to throw it to you for the final question. Is there anything I missed out in terms of how a father can stay in touch with what's happening with their child, especially if they don't live in the same home?
Just communicating. If you don't live, check up on the child. There's a phone. It doesn't have to be anything too long because men don't normally like speaking on the phones too long. So I mean, just simple checking up. Hey, how are you doing? Is there anything I can help you with? Because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes kids won't generally just get up and go to their father, oh, I need help with something. So the father can also go first to the child and say, is there anything that you need assisting with? And even probe and ask questions. What are your
Mm-hmm.
desires? What motivates you? Have that conversation,
Mm-hmm.
because if you don't, a child generally don't want to go to parents and start having that conversation and get me. So the
Right,
father can
right.
take the lead to go and say, hey, what's the motivation? What do you aspire to become? How can I help you to get
Wow.
there? If
Yes.
it is that you like science, do you want me to buy you some science stuff so we can do it together?
Right.
So
Mm-hmm.
having that little conversation, and while
Absolutely.
you're doing things together, you're talking. So what about this? Do you like?
Mm-hmm.
So you would not only listening to what the child is saying, but you also can give feedback and reinforce the child that you're good at this, because children always want to hear positive reinforcements and feedbacks from their father,
Yes.
things that they're doing. So
Thank
that's
you.
important.
That's a very good point and definitely well needed. We are out of time. We are out of time, but I so enjoyed this discussion. Thank you so much, Mrs.
Yes.
Adigo
And happy
Lawrence,
Father's
Mr.
Day to the fathers as they come on Sunday.
Uh,
We don't get celebrated a lot, but I just want to big up all the real
oh,
fathers out there. Enough love and respect.
yes, yes, yes. Thank you so much, Mr. Graham. Thank you so much, Mr. Wright, for making it Campus Connection. And that's all we have for you today, guys. We are officially out of time, but we will certainly see you next week right here, same time, same place. We want to say special thanks to Dr. Nadine Blair, our operations/programs manager, Jermaine Johnson, our producer, Timoy Butler, technical support, Shania Smith and Latifa Reed and David Sutton for news support and our campus liaison, Raquel Robertson, our digital media, and Ruth Lawrence, our campus consultant. Thank you to our special guests who joined us for this episode. We appreciate you and happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. We'll see you next week.